Hi.
Hi.
What's up, dudes? I'm Erin.
I'm Nicole. This is Dude, That's Fucked Up, the podcast.
It is a podcast about things that are fucked up. I don't know if you got that from the name, but
Although according to an iTunes review, not fucked up enough sometimes.
sorry.
Sorry. It's fucked up in our way. We're the proprietors of this here podcast, and we decide what's fucked up and why. So,
Yeah.
listen or
sorry about
don't.
it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to talk about bukkake all day long. Sorry. I don't know.
I mean, we want to, but sometimes that's gross.
Yeah, like we have to kind of try to make it a little bit more for like there has to be something for everybody.
Yeah,
you know? Like
yeah,
it
yeah.
can't just be like all, well, here's another fucking horrifying thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Also,
But that's like really bad. Like, I don't know.
yeah, but also we like talking about a lot of different things. That's why this podcast exists.
That's right. Oh my God, you guys, you might be really mad at us about the topic we're going to cover today.
Why?
I just feel like the person we're going to talk about is such a beloved figure.
Oh, I didn't grow up with
Okay.
people who cared. I don't know. So for me, it's kind of back and forth.
You're pretty neutral about it?
I'm
okay.
pretty neutral. Yeah.
I'm not. This was hard for me. I gotta
Really?
Be honest.
Oh my God.
Learning some of the stuff that I learned. Yeah.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. So before we get into it though, any business or anything you want to talk about or bring up? Oh, I do have something.
Fucked
I
up?
just remembered. No, really
Oh.
nice.
Oh.
One of our listeners sent us t-shirts that are so cute.
Aw.
They say, "What a time to be alive" on them. And she sent us a nice card. I just got them out of the P.O. box the other day, and I still have yet to send you yours because she sent them to the P.O. box, so I got them. And I will send you yours. But thank you, dear listener, for that. That was so sweet.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, I wonder. Yeah, we probably shouldn't say their name. They didn't say we could, but.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we will next time.
Yeah, you know who you are, girl.
Yeah, announce yourself in the group. Take all the credit for being amazing and sending us a gift. That is so nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't wait. I'm very excited. It's still a surprise because you didn't send me a picture or anything. So.
Oh, that was my bad.
Yeah,
I probably should have done that.
No. Because then I'll get to open it and it'll be very exciting.
I immediately took the shirt out and I was gonna put it on, but I ended up folding it and putting it on my windowsill. And I was going to take a picture of it, and then my cat just laid on it, and so there's cat hair all over it now. So I probably need to wash it. Yeah. So, and then I'm trying to also send you some other things in the mail, that are
business
related. And so I was gonna send everything at once, and I usually have a box or two on hand. For just because I get all my shit sent to me like a fucking lazy piece of shit. But I haven't got a box big enough yet.
Oh.
I've been killing the environment because they ship me all this stuff except piecemeally, you know.
Tiny boxes, you order a pen or a pencil and they just ship it in one little box.
Yeah, so I feel real bad about that, but I'm definitely getting something today in the mail that should be an adequate size box for
Excellent.
you.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Nobody gives a fuck. Sorry to have bored you all with that terrible bomb hop.
Well, you know what? We're going to make up for it with all of this stuff we're talking about.
Yes. I don't even have anything fucked up this week. I don't
think I do either. Honestly, this is all I can think about since we started doing the research, because there's so much. You guys, should we just say it? Are we going to say it? Let's say it.
Yeah.
We're talking about Elvis Presley today.
You guys.
Part one, because there is so much information and so many rabbit holes to dive into, and it is a wild time. What are we talking about? Elvis Presley. Yes.
Elvis.
The king.
Dude. The king of rock and roll.
Debatable? We don't know. There's a lot to unpack, and we're going to unpack it. We're going to do our best.
Yeah, and we're gonna have maybe some controversial hot takes.
Yeah.
But maybe not, because this is 2019, guys. This isn't 1952 or whatever the fuck. This is like we gotta talk about some of this stuff that is pretty fucked up by today's standards. And we can still love him. We could still like his music, but you should know some stuff before. Like we're gonna have a little bit of a nuanced convo about it, so that we can make decisions for ourselves. You can make decisions for yourself.
Yeah,
how you feel.
Yeah, you don't have to agree with us. And also, we might not agree with each other on things. That's fine too. Also, this is like part 1, Elvis's rise to fame. So we're like not even going to talk about some of the more like salacious shit, although there's some good stuff in here.
Yeah,
but
there is.
It's more like where was he born? Well, then what happened? Then what happened?
Then what happened? And then what? It's the first half of his life, basically.
Yeah. Okay, well, he was born. Let's start there.
Okay, but right off the bat, it gets fucked up.
Dude, okay, I did not, just diving right into this, I was not expecting, I'm going wild. I'm talking with my hands. I just hit the microphone. I did not expect for things to start off this strong.
Dude. It's crazy.
Dude, okay. Elvis Aaron Presley was born on January 8th, 1935 in Tupelo, Mississippi. Which, okay, if this is mathematically accurate, my dad, I think, was born in the late 40s. So, like, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my dad's in his 70s.
Your dad's like 70, yeah.
Which means Elvis could be alive in his 80s. But he died.
Oh, for sure.
Spoiler alert. He's dead.
Oh, yeah, well, I think unless you are a conspiracy theorist who believes that Elvis is still alive walking amongst us.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have to touch on that in part 2.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, he was born like 13 or so years before my dad, which is wild.
Crazy. Wild.
Also, he was an identical twin. His brother, Jesse Garin Presley. Okay, so
this is the...
Wait, Garin and Erin?
I just caught that.
Yeah, he was born 30 minutes before Elvis, but he was still born.
This is what I was like, holy fucking shit.
Same.
This is crazy. I did not know this about Elvis, that he was an identical twin. Like, it's one thing to be a twin. It's another thing to be an identical twin. And then his twin was stillborn when they were both born.
Which means,
so sad.
Like, he spent the full, he came to term with his stillborn twin. Which, I'm like, have the decency to eat your twin in the womb. Like, if it's not going to survive, like, come on, Elvis. Check box 1 in the bad category.
Oh.
Is that awful? No, it's funny.
I mean... He wanted him to absorb his twin.
Yeah, absorb your twin.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I just had no idea. I knew nothing about that. That's never a thing that's ever crossed my... I guess maybe a lot of people knew that, but I never knew that. It's crazy.
No, I never knew that. That's insane.
Yeah. It's sad. It's very sad.
It's very sad, yeah. Do you watch, it's a sitcom, The Kids Are All Right?
No.
It's really funny. One of them had a twin in the womb and absorbed it. And so the mom every year on his birthday makes him go to like her grave. She's like, oh, I bet you it was a girl because she never got a girl. So she like guilts this kid.
Oh my God.
It's such a
That's
fucked
up.
It's such a fucked up storyline for a sitcom on like ABC.
That's dark as fuck.
Yeah, I wonder if I don't think Elvis's mom ever blamed him or made him feel guilty about the twin situation, because it sounds like he was really close with his parents.
Yeah, he loved his mother especially. Like, he was even like called a mama's boy, like,
ooh,
when he was growing up, which is like so rude. Like, that's
you should be a mama's boy, right? Everyone should like love their parents or whatever.
You should especially love your mom. She fucking gave birth to you. Like,
True.
She...
Unless she's a monster.
Well, that's true. That's true. Well, now that I'm a mom, I'm like,
you better.
Good thing Jack's first words were mama, because boy, if his first words would have been dada, I would have been like, that's rude.
Even though really it's rude. Like still kind of just sounds, right?
Yeah, he doesn't like associate, but still.
But still, like he easily could have gone down the da 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 path.
Because that's like, it could go either way, I think.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
good thing. God. Would have been really rude.
Well, the Presleys were church people. Specifically, they went to the Assembly of God, which is like a specific church where I guess it's like a musical church.
Kitty, stop it! Sorry,
Kitty. What is Kitty doing?
Kitty's scratching on the window.
Oh my God, Kitty. Kitty's trying on your shirt.
Yeah, basically. He's pissed that I moved the shirt, truly.
Yeah, the shirt bed.
Yeah.
So
sorry.
It was like no, that's okay. It was a very musical church. So like that's kind of where his like musical roots started developing.
Got it.
And then his family was like, they were all right. And then they went through a rough patch because his dad had altered a check that was written by his sometimes employer but also landowner, and they were evicted. So it was like check fraud.
Yeah, that's not a thing you should do.
No,
Dad?
It's not a thing you should do. And the dad went to jail for 8 months.
Oh shit.
So, and this is like Elvis was pretty young at this point.
Yeah.
And so they like stayed with relatives, Elvis and his mom, during that part of time. But I think it was pretty rough on both of them.
Yeah, that's shitty, man.
Yeah. And then he went to school like any regular kid. His teachers regarded him as average.
Yeah. In reading about this part of his life, a lot of teachers didn't have very many nice things to say about him. It's so sad.
No, they're just like, yeah, he was a kid.
Yeah, he went to school.
Yeah. He
came to class.
Yeah, he wrote with a pencil.
He had hair.
Yeah, he had
Good hair.
Good hair.
He had great hair.
Yeah, he had great hair, actually. His hair, not average. Above average. Yeah, he did. I think like one teacher did kind of recognize that he had a nice voice and was like, you should like pursue that. But like, it wasn't like a fucking PBS after school special or anything.
Right.
It wasn't like, we're going to nurture this talent. And like, it was just kind of like, he was probably like, hey, listen to this song. And they're like, yeah, that's fine. Maybe cool. Like do that or whatever. I don't care.
Maybe like sang in the choir or something. Yeah. I'm not going to put in a good word, but you should try out.
I have some papers to grade.
Get in on your own merits, kid.
Move along, little LV.
Yeah.
So he started to become somewhat of a loner because he did become obsessed with music. And I don't know if like he was a loner because he was so into music or if he was so into music then he became a loner.
I think he was a really shy kid, just by nature. I think he was, his whole vibe was very shy. He was just a quiet, sweet kid from all accounts. Oh. And he got into music, and that was his little outlet.
Yeah, and he would like listen to radio programs religiously and like try and mimic what he heard on the radio. Mm-hmm. And in 1948, when he was 13 years old, he moved to Memphis, Tennessee. And this is like where, obviously, we know music is very big in Memphis. Country music, blues music. And he was just like so excited to be there. And he started to blossom a little bit because he got a guitar at some point during his childhood as a gift. And he'd bring it to school and he'd sing radio hits to like mildly annoyed teachers. He's like, ooh, an audience. And he'd like bring his guitar and they'd be like, please don't do that.
Yeah. And he was just so into it. And everybody's like, calm down.
Yeah.
And wasn't he one of the very few white kids in his school at this point when he moved to Memphis?
Oh, could be. Yeah.
So he was a little bit of an oddity at his school too. So they were like, okay, cool. And then they were like, all right, you're not that good, so just go sit down.
Yeah. Why didn't you take a music class or something, which you did and totally failed.
Yeah. Or just like, yeah, you think you're pretty good, but we know some people that are much better.
Yeah, there's a lot of people doing it way better.
Yeah, but it's cute. They're like, all right, kid.
And he failed this music class because he could never figure out how to read music, I guess. But he was really good at like playing by ear, which would come in handy later. But still, up until this point, he's still like, kind of a weirdo, definitely a loner, like kind of a skinny little kid. But then he hits puberty, and that's when things change for him because we know Elvis was a hot man.
I would.
I so would. Oh
I
my
still
God.
would.
I wouldn't circa 1968.
No.
And beyond. But right before then, oh my God. Wow, what a hunk. For sure.
Dude. It's crazy. Like, people just didn't look like that back then. You know what I mean? Like,
they still don't. I know. Like, how he looks, he's such a beautiful human. And, like, his smile was really nice. And he had, like, a nice bod. Oh, my God. Side note, we're going to talk about Blue Hawaii in a little bit. But the short shorts that he would wear. Lord have mercy. Wow. I had feelings I was not expecting.
I know. I've been thinking about Elvis like so much over the past few days, and I've just been like, whew.
Steamy.
Yeah, he was just like a unique looking person. Like he wasn't, he was like a very beautiful person.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful human. I don't know.
And eventually would have like the confidence and stuff that was like very attractive, but and obviously was talented. So, all of that stuff builds. But just looking at him before he was even talented, it's like, he looks good.
Yeah.
So by his junior year of high school, he was wearing rose oil and grease in his hair and slicking it back. Real rockabilly vibe,
Love it.
And then around this time... So I think he like became a little bit more shy about his music, like because people weren't responding how he wanted them to respond.
Mm-hmm.
But he was still pursuing it, and he entered a minstrel show competition, which
fucking yikes, dude.
Yikes. But that was a thing back then, I suppose. And everyone realized, like, because a bunch of his schoolmates were in the audience. And he came out, and everyone was like, holy shit. He just, like, blew them away.
Yeah, he, like, embodied something totally different. I mean, it was a minstrel show, so...
Yeah.
But it's like, he, as a performer, something changed about him, I think.
Yeah.
Like, and people saw that, and they were like, whoa.
Yeah. I think because he was just like, what happened is, well, he got really into music when he moved to Nashville.
Memphis.
I was like, I can't remember what it is. I'm going to take a guess. It's one or the other. He got really into music when he got to Memphis, and just like a little side note, side rant, side wind right now.
Right.
The South was still super fucked up at this point. It was segregated.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of it was segregated. And there was this whole, like, obviously, like, a gospel scene in the churches and stuff from a music perspective, but also blues music was getting really big. And in Memphis, they had Beale Street, and there was tons of clubs, and it was a black neighborhood, and like it was there was a lot of artists that we would eventually come to know, like B.B. King and stuff, playing music down there, but whites weren't allowed. It was a black neighborhood, except on certain nights. So Elvis would go down there on like whites only nights where the audience was allowed to be white people, but like the talent was still black people. And he just started becoming like super into that music, and that's what he was like trying to mimic and stuff. And one of his favorite artists was Sister Rosetta Tharpe, who, first of all, is a woman.
Holy fucking shit, man.
Dude.
If you do yourself a favor, if you've never heard of Sister Rosetta Tharpe, go online right now. Like, stop this podcast.
Yeah.
Go listen to there's a really famous performance that she does, like, by some train tracks. It's probably something you've seen before on the internet at some point.
Yeah, it like circulates Facebook every year. I see it pop up in my feed.
That's her. That's her. And that was when she was older.
Yeah.
Like, that was when she was an older woman. She's been playing electric guitar for decades.
Yeah.
And I would say, is the one who fucking pioneered rock and roll, to be honest.
Yeah, she's one of the pioneers. Electric guitar for sure. She would later influence all the dudes who eventually got famous. Elvis cited her specifically as one of his influences, but also Chuck Berry, Jerry Lee Lewis, Little Richard, Johnny Cash. Like, you could hear her music in their music.
Right.
It's insane.
Yeah, and a lot of British bands that came out, like, much later on, like even Led Zeppelin and all those bands around that time, they are influenced by a fucking badass black woman.
Yeah.
And so don't forget that shit.
I don't know. I still don't think she's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is insane. I'll have to Google it, but I know she wasn't a couple of years ago, and people were like writing articles about it.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's like, I mean, I only heard about Sister Rosetta Tharpe when I went to the African American Museum that recently opened in Washington, D.C., and they have a whole section that's for like arts and music and stuff, and that's where I first heard about or even saw Sister Rosetta Tharpe was at the African American History Museum, and I was just like, how is this not more well known? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's crazy.
It's because she was first black and second a woman. So
that's right.
So even though her music was somewhat popular, like, or like, you know, people were listening to it a little bit more or being influenced by it, they just couldn't make people like her famous. Like, they tried. Right. And that was pretty fucked up and a sign of the times. But
yeah, and people were just too fucking racist. And
yeah, they just couldn't accept, like, you know, they probably like loved a lot of the things they heard, but they like couldn't accept it, so they just didn't listen to it or buy it. And so basically, and this all isn't to say that Elvis himself wasn't talented, but it's also like a reminder of how he was able to launch a career and get such a huge head start because, you know, segregation was still so popular, and like his white privilege played a role in getting a career. And yeah, he emulated black music. Yeah. And he played black music. Like, a lot of the songs that he popularized were first songs that had been done by black artists. Like, period. Oh my God. We'll get to his first album, but a lot of the songs that he sings were already performed by black artists and weren't hits. So he just repurposed it, and it became a hit.
And it was done on purpose. It was like almost a manufactured thing. Yeah. But just to be clear, like, he was very talented on his own. Like, he was original in a lot of ways, but the songs he took from black artists.
His career was built off of black artists, just as this country was built off of black people. It's just a fact. And people might say, oh, that's political, but it's not. It's just a fact. And the sooner we all recognize and point this out and try to make things be more equal and call things out even, and that's all we're doing. These are facts, guys. These are facts, yeah.
There's nothing controversial about it.
Yeah, it's just how it is. Like, that's how he built his career. Yeah.
If we can't talk about it, if we can't say that, or if you like are bummed about it, like, you should be bummed about it, but you shouldn't be like mad or anything. Like,
no, it just is a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you could be mad about it too, but But just
not mad
recognize.
at us for pointing it out.
Oh, yeah. Not mad at us. But that's a hard thing. I think that's like, it's such a hard thing for me, particularly because I love a lot of artists that up until maybe the last 10 or so years, I didn't realize had stolen music from Black people. Like we've talked about this before, I think, but like Led Zeppelin directly stole a bunch of blues riffs from blues artists. And, you know, the Rolling Stones have music that was blues music. And it's like, you know, that in itself is kind of shitty, but also you could argue that it's like, oh, well, that's like the way music was going and that's the culture at the time. And, you know, of course that's going to influence other people's music and stuff, and that's fine. But like with Elvis specifically, like he was taking this music and then he wasn't lifting Black culture up with him. He had like an opportunity he could have, you know, put Black people in his band, or he could have opened his shows to be like non-segregated or whatever. And maybe he did a little bit of that, but I don't think so. And like, that's like where the problem is.
Right. And same goes for for a lot of other bands where they like just blatantly ripped stuff off and never gave credit or like
gave
even
back
got
to
into
those communities or anything, you know?
Yeah. Or like even got into like legal like issues and just had to like settle like lawsuits and stuff. And I don't know. It's wild.
Well,
it's wild.
We're all trying to do better.
Let's do better, guys.
Let's do better. So actually, like, we talked about how he basically just took like Black sound. This is because, so like this all has to do with how he got famous. So Sam Phillips, who was the head of the local Sun Studios in Memphis, was looking for someone who sounded Black and could sing Black music but was white, because he knew that Black music was special, and he was working with some of these artists. And he was seeing that the music that they were putting out, people liked it, but they weren't buying it. The radio stations weren't playing it. The white radio stations weren't playing it. And that's where the mainstream was, and that's where the money was to be made. And he was just like, okay, we need to figure out a way to like bring this sound to white audiences. And the only way to do that essentially is with a white person. And that's where Elvis came along, because he was able to mimic that sound pretty closely and people fucking loved it.
Yeah, it's like he's like Post Malone in 1950. 1950s Post Malone.
But the only thing they have in common is that they're like a white person repackaging Black music, because Post Malone looks nothing like Elvis.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. His hair is the exact opposite of fucking Elvis's hair. Just unkempt.
Well, they're both greasy, but
yeah, but in a different, like,
one's
Elvis
on purpose.
is like sexy greasy. Sex grease, and then Post Malone is like slob grease.
Also, one's like hot bod, one's like dad bod. Yeah. Actually, I kind of like Post Malone. I saw him on this.
I do too. I think he's great.
Yeah, his music's good, and I saw him on this like. There's this show Pete watches, and it's just people just try different hot sauces.
Yeah, and Post Malone is
Have you seen it?
I've seen that one.
It's funny. It's good, and he seems like a likable guy.
Yeah, he's just like a dude.
Yeah,
like,
but
whatever.
He has face tattoos, and it's like too much.
So strike 1, 2, and almost 3 against him. So back to 1950s Post Malone.
Oh my God.
JK, love you, Elvis.
JK, it's the opposite. Elvis paved the way for Post Malone. Elvis is exactly the reason why Post Malone exists today.
That's right.
It's like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. He like opened Pandora's box.
That always sounds dirty to me.
Well.
All right. Yeah, so Sam Phillips brought Elvis in. And he was like, I think this guy might have this sound, but like, let's check it out. So he like brings him into the studio on July 5th, 1954, my birthday.
Hey-o.
I wasn't born yet, but that would soon, several tens of years later, become my birthday. So he like gave him a little small band and was like, all right, like, I'm just gonna record you guys like fucking around or whatever, play some songs. And Elvis was like, okay, I think he wants me to sound like this. So then he played like a bunch of country songs. And it was like fucking snooze fest 1954. It was like everyone's asleep. It's bad.
Yeah.
Sam Phillips is like
boring.
Yeah, he's like, this sucks, dude. And he's like, all right, I'm gonna like step out for a cigarette or whatever. And by this time they'd been in the studio all day. They're delirious. And Elvis just starts like fucking around on his guitar, and he's like, he starts playing the music he likes. Yeah, which is black music. Like he's playing rock and roll, blues and stuff. And he and Sam like hears it, and he's like runs back in and starts recording it. And he's like, "What is this? Like, play this. This is what you should be playing." And Elvis is like, "Oh yeah, this is the music I like." And he's like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah.
And I feel like it was like one of those moments where it's like, that's the sound I'm looking for, fellas, you know?
Like Back to the Future, where he starts playing Chuck Berry.
He's like, he calls
it's your cousin, Marvin Berry. You know that sound you've been looking for? Listen to this.
I think I found it. What song do they play in that?
Johnny Be Good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so good.
So good. But yeah, it was like a moment like that where Elvis is like, it's just casual, and he's like fucking, everybody's fucking around, and he just like busts out this cool ass song. Yeah. And it's like, why weren't you doing that all goddamn day?
Yeah, he's like, you wasted my time, kid. But then it's like, oh, all right, I think we could work with this. So the song he starts playing is, I think he started playing That's All Right. Like, that's all right, mama.
Mama.
Yeah.
That's all right with me. It's a great fucking song.
And it's like very fun and rock and rolly, and just like, and Elvis is just like crooning it so sexily. And
his voice, man, it's good. It's so real good.
And they just like cut it that day. 3 days later, radio stations are playing it, and fucking, that's it.
This song fucking slaps, and everybody knows it. Everybody's going apeshit.
Oh my God. People fucking love this shit. They're just like, give me more Elvis. Like, people are calling into the radio station. All the teens are just like so hot and bothered.
Losing their minds.
Losing their fucking minds. And so that's it. He basically from then was an overnight sensation. Like, it was just like, I watched this documentary called The King. That's really good, which is, I thought it was going to be more about the life of Elvis, and like his career, but it was actually really interesting. It's like, it like painted a picture of like the rise and fall of Elvis, and like the rise and like the fall we're on with America. It's really good.
Interesting. Like how it mirrors the society.
Mm-hmm. And how like we're just like in a really bad place right now, and like it's pretty interesting.
Sounds very uplifting.
Oh, it was not. It was very depressing and sad. But so he got himself a manager, and his name was Colonel Tom Parker, and I don't know if he was an actual military colonel or like the Sanders type. So. TBD.
Like Colonel Sanders?
Yeah, like Colonel Sanders. I don't know if he was like an actual military man, or if he owned like a hot chicken shop somewhere, or what. We don't know.
Had a secret recipe of herbs and spices.
Maybe he had 10 herbs and spices. Or maybe 12. But it wasn't 11, and it wasn't famous. So, but this guy was a businessman, because somehow managers usually make like between like 10 and 15%, I think, of like the person's income that they represent. This man negotiated for 50%.
Wow. And he got it, right?
And he got it. And it was never changed. Literally,
dude,
from the day
Elvis.
he signed Elvis until the day Elvis died, he made 50% of everything Elvis made. And Elvis made some fucking money.
Well, he was not a numbers guy, that's for sure. Poor Elvis.
Also, did you see that Baz Luhrmann's doing an Elvis movie?
Yes. Tom Hanks, I guess, is going to play Colonel Tom Parker, his manager.
Colonel Sanders Parker. Oh my God.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I will watch the fuck out of that.
I will so watch that.
Do you think Rami Malek is going to play Elvis? JK. What if Post Malone plays? Oh God, I'm cracking myself up. I'm sorry.
Okay, so Elvis was eventually signed to RCA Records, which is like a super famous record label, and it's still around today. And he released his first solo album, which, of course, he did not write the songs.
No.
And that was fairly typical at the time, but like, he didn't write a single song. And on the album were some of his biggest hits: Blue Suede Shoes, Bop, I Got a Woman. Ray Charles' version, probably infinitely better.
Yeah.
And also Ray Charles wrote it.
Yeah. Also, it's just a Ray Charles song.
Yeah. Just Because. Like, Just Because. Da, 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 da. Is that it?
I don't know. I don't know that one, I don't think. Maybe I do.
I would
have to hear it.
understand. Believe me.
Oh. I don't know.
That doesn't help. All right.
Nope.
Tutti Frutti.
Like
Little Richard.
Little Richard?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll Never Let You Go, Little Darlin'.
Okay.
I thought I knew that one, but I don't think I do. And A Blue Moon.
Okay.
Which we all know is about butts.
About butts. Can you imagine?
Oh my God. They're building a building on Broadway in Long Beach, which is like a very main street, and it has like, it's like a residential building, and it has doors that open right onto the street. And which is like kind of weird because there's just like sometimes, you know, like people having meltdowns on that street and like maybe psychotic breaks and stuff, like people that need help, but you know, it's where kind of like homeless people hang out and stuff. And there's like a room that's all glass on the corner, and Pete was like, is that gonna be like a storefront? And I was like, no, there's no door. I think that's like someone's living room, and it's all glass. It's all glass, and it's on the corner. And Pete was like, they're gonna have to deal with a lot of pressed hams, meaning like butts.
Oh yeah.
Pressing against the window.
Oh no.
Yeah. I would not want to live right on the street. I don't know.
No, you need like a fucking like little, like a buffer of some sort.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, it's probably gonna be cheap rent.
Yeah, cheap rent with all the butts.
Get that butt discount.
Butt discount.
It's like 25% off your monthly rent because of the butts.
Or do you get like a coupon for Dutch Touch, and they come like clean your windows all the time because there's like butt imprints all over your windows.
Jesus.
Honestly, I would just like draw butts on there as like a way to be like, oh, we already like butts, and then people might not do it.
Yeah, like a reverse psychology of butts. Yeah. Oh my God. Well, Blue Moon isn't about butts, but you know.
Well, that we know, allegedly.
Maybe it could be. Who knows?
Blue Moon. I saw you standing alone with your butt. They're alone and their butts out. Without a dream in my heart.
Without any pants on. I don't know. Thank you.
And then at the end when it's like,
oh, thank you very much.
Wah, 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 it's because people are crying because there's butts. Yeah, that was
butt stuff. So good.
So good.
Well, what else? Oh, so he was rolling. Like this album was released and he got mobbed. Like he was real famous.
Dude, he was so famous. And like I was thinking about this cuz like he was Beatle famous before the Beatles, you know, it was like he would get mobbed everywhere he went, and like for years this was the case. And it was like pandemonium. But like he's by himself, you know, and he has no one to talk to about any of this stuff. And the Beatles at least had each other, and like there was 4 of them to like divide the pandemonium, but Elvis, it was just him.
Yeah, that is such a good point. Like, I mean, he had his bandmates, but they were all like kind of, I don't know, nobody gave a shit about them. Like, people weren't obsessed and screaming for them. They were screaming for one person on stage, and that was Elvis.
Also, I guess his band was with him a long time, but it wasn't like Elvis and the somethings.
Right.
He was
they were just like,
they were like a house band.
Fill-in musicians, yeah.
But I think some of them did stay with him for a long time, which is sad. Yeah. Hopefully they made a good amount of money.
Well, I think some of them wrote tell-all books later on in life.
Oh, dude. I gotta read those. Yeah. This is the thing. We did open Pandora's box with this topic because I would just want to keep consuming. I thought I did that with Scientology because I have not stopped watching that Leah Remini show.
Oh, my God. But, I mean, with Scientology, it's like you can only go so far with it because at some point it's like there's only so many accounts that are like verified. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, but with Elvis, it's like he existed on such a prolific level and interacted with so many people and just came in contact with so many people that the stories are just, they're incredible. There's so many, and there's so many different ways his life went that it's hard to like, it was like hard doing notes, man.
Dude, he like truly lived so many different lifetimes in just like a 20-year span.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, that's what fame and money gets you, is you like become this conduit for just a million different life experiences that nobody could even possibly come close to even experiencing a fraction of. So I don't know.
Well, and he's like, so everyone's wanting to like profit off of him, obviously. Mm-hmm. And his rise in fame also coincides with the rise of television sets and like those coming into the home and eventually color TV. And so like, and because he's attractive, it's just like this perfect storm. And it's
and the way he moved was, and the type of music and the way he danced, like coinciding with the rise of television, like his Ed Sullivan appearance was, people described it as pornographic because they'd never seen anything like that before. It was so overtly sexual, and people were just so completely like flabbergasted by it. And all the young ladies and some young men were like, yes, please.
More, please.
Thank you. I will see those hips swivel and possibly his outline of his dick in his pants, because that's what I was reading about too. Oh my God.
Does he have a big dick?
I don't know. I mean,
it just like flopped around and you could see it.
I think it was like a John Hamm walking in gray sweatpants situation.
Whoa.
I haven't looked hard enough at this video. I need to do more research.
Oh my God. If John Hamm has the Hamaconda, Elvis Presley has the Elvis Presley Hamaconda.
The panini. I'm just thinking Presley, press, ham, I don't know.
Elvis Press Ham Panini.
He's got the king.
He's got the foot long. He's got the stadium dog because he was selling out He was selling out stadiums. He's got fucking Elvis has the scepter, bitch, because he's the king.
Well, at any rate, TV, man, they figured, like, the first few like shots of Elvis on TV, it's like they show his whole body, and then after he starts like gyrating around, they're like, oh, nope, oh. And it's like only from the waist up is what they show anytime Elvis comes on TV, because they're so fucking like such fucking
God
nerds about
this
it.
Country is such a fucking repressed,
puritanical garbage society.
Oh
yes,
my God. It's wild. It's just like everyone calm the fuck down. If you watch it today, you're just like, what is sexual about this?
Yeah, it's like he's spazzing out, man.
Yeah, I'm like, is he okay? No. What's sexual is like the lip curl. I'm like, oh, that's sexy.
I mean, I'm just trying to, like, in context, like, seeing something like this in that time where the only thing you saw on TV was like these, you know, very prim and proper performances. Totally. And this was just wild. Like, people were like, what is this music? What is his dance moves? Holy fucking shit. Like, dude, it was a lot.
The only thing you saw on TV was still like white people and like super white music and like fucking Bobby Darin and shit. Probably it was like so bland, and they just stood there, and like girls were like, yay. And then Elvis came on, and girls were like, my fucking face is melting off, and they're like ripping off their shirt, like,
dude, you can hear the crowd just like on the like Ed Sullivan show, just screaming.
Oh my God.
Like losing their fucking minds. And you're just like, whoa, okay. It's hard for us to like understand, but back then it truly was some fucking real shit, and people lost it.
And
so
that's when vibrators were invented. Just kidding.
Oh, shit. No, we know they've been around forever.
And that's when masturbation was invented. All right, moving on.
Yeah. Well,
he's
so famous, and it was a wild time. His rise to fame was just like crazy. It was just, and you know, it's funny. I was reading some articles and some accounts of him when he first started performing. He wasn't very good at it. He actually had a lot of stage fright when he was younger. And keep in mind that he's only, like, when he really started getting famous, he was like 18, 19, like around there. And I think he wasn't about touring. Like, he didn't really love it, but he had to do it so that people could see him. But he was not the best person to perform live, I think. But I think he was just trying to figure it out as he went. But at first it was rough.
Yeah, but he really locked into it. And like the last thing that like kind of like created this like perfect storm was like how hard the adults hated on how sexy he was being.
Oh my God.
It was like the bigger stink they made, the more the kids liked it. And they were making a huge stink. People were like going on TV and like just like tearing him down, like just like he's the Antichrist and all this stuff, and just like hating on him. And you know what? That helped.
Oh yeah, it was just like the reverse of what they were trying to do. Well, one of the people that hated him the most was Frank Sinatra.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he like, and it's stupid because in Frank Sinatra's time when he started becoming famous, he was he was like a sex symbol, and people were like falling all over themselves to like, you know, hate on him. So he like took it upon himself to talk a shit ton of shit on Elvis, like when he first started getting famous. Oh my God. He was like, I don't know what this rock and roll bullshit is. It's garbage. Like, just how like old people hate on like hip hop. It's pretty funny. So that I was reading about how Frank Sinatra just hated Elvis, and then at some point later on in their careers they had to like do this performance together, and it was like only a couple years after he'd said all these horrible things about Elvis. And to Elvis's credit, when he heard what Frank Sinatra said, he was just like, I don't really understand why he doesn't like me that much. I mean, he kind of did the same thing and people were just as critical in the same ways towards him. So,
yeah, Dad.
Yeah, Dad, calm down. So, but he was so nice and pleasant about it. He wasn't like, fuck that fucking guy. He was like, oh, I don't know. I'm just trying to do my thing. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know
I thought
what?
that was interesting.
Well, Elvis is like on his way up. He made a couple movies at this point. He's like loving his career. And then the fucking wildest thing happens.
This is crazy to me.
Dude, he gets drafted into the army, like smack dab in like the middle of his rise to fame.
It's pretty crazy. Like, I can't imagine something more disruptive to anybody's career. I mean,
it would
being drafted.
It should kill your career. It should.
Oh yeah, it should.
Like, he was gone for 2 years. He lived in Germany, and he worked on an army base there, and it was like basically I don't think he was ever like in. Well, there was no war happening at that point over there. World War II was over. It was like
World War II was over. I think
maybe
the Korean War hadn't started. I don't think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know if it had or not.
Yeah, he was like in between. He was like in between or something, but it was kind of boring over there. He just like worked on a base in Germany, and like this is where two things happen. One, he allegedly gets addicted to painkillers.
Yeah.
Which it was out of boredom, maybe.
Oh no, I think it was amphetamines, not painkillers. Actually. Because they needed to do all this shit in the army and they needed to like stay awake or like wake up early.
Like shifts. They were doing like because he was like watchman or something. He was like a security guard essentially, and he had to stay up all night.
Yeah, and he like the way that they were presented to him were like they were like vitamins, and that's how everybody thought of amphetamines back then. If you remember our Dr. Feelgood episode, with JFK, like amphetamines like weren't considered like drugs. Like we think of amphetamines and we're like, oh, that's fucking speed. That's not how they thought about that drug back then. They had a different perception of it, and so he was like. And it was like given to him by, I think, like one of his commanding officers or something. So he was just like, okay, this is fine.
Yeah, and they're like, it's just a pill. It's like,
yeah, it's just a pill.
Yeah.
And that's I think where his pill addiction started.
That makes sense. Yeah, and it was like kind of out of necessity, more out of boredom. Like they just it was just like he wasn't doing much over there.
Well, and he was like a full-blown celebrity, and so when he was in the army, he was like, please don't treat me any differently. I want to like serve my time here and like be helpful or whatever.
Yeah.
But of course, like everybody was like, dude, you're fucking Elvis. You're so cool. Like, let's hang out. And he was like, had all this money too. So he like did nice things within reason for his like his platoon or whatever the fuck he was in, whatever it's called.
Yeah. His like brothers. His army brothers.
His brothers in arms.
Yeah. And they went out and stuff, and they had his regiment.
Sorry.
And they went out and had fun and stuff, and they were like talking to girls and stuff, and that's where he met Priscilla, who at the time was
14,
a child. That's
literally a child.
That's a freshman in high school. And she was over there because her stepdad was in the military, and I think we'll end it there today.
Yeah,
it's kind of a cliffhanger. I mean, you know what happens because they get married at some point. I almost said that's where he meets Priscilla Presley.
Well, everybody knows.
Yeah.
Who Priscilla is. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just leaving you with the thought that she was 14 when they met. And it wasn't like he was just like, oh, hello, 14-year-old. Good day. And then moved on with his life. It was like he was like, hello, and actively tried to date a 14-year-old. So we'll just leave you with that.
And it probably wasn't the first and wouldn't be the last time, I don't think either. So
nope. And we'll talk about that in the next episode of Dude That's Fucked Up.
Follow us on social medias at DTFU Podcast on all the platforms.
Yes.
Visit our website, dtfupodcast.com. Just go there because you could get to anywhere from there.
That's right. Yeah.
You could click a link to leave us a review on iTunes. You could order merch. You could go to our Patreon page from there. It's all happening on the website.
You guys, there's a video on the website that Nicole made.
Oh my God.
It's called A Raining Men.
It's
set to the tune of Raining Men.
It's so okay. You won't believe it.
It's outstanding, and I highly recommend watching it.
It's so fine. It's fine. I wish I would have done better sound mixing on it now in hindsight, but you know what? It was my first video I ever made. It's great.
It's incredible.
It's great.
Don't sell yourself short. Everybody watch it and then send Nicole a note about how great it was. Thank
you. All right. Yeah, I'm on board for that. All right. Yeah,
we're going to pick this back up next week.
I can't wait. It gets infinitely crazier. Like,
oh my God.
You guys, just a sneak peek. He made a ton of movies. He met the president. He became special ops.
So much was happening.
He got married.
In the second half of Elvis's life, there's a lot of shit happening.
Oh my God.
But we'll talk about that next time. Thank you so much for listening this week. I hope you enjoyed this little episode. Mm-hmm. And thank you so much for being excellent and keep being excellent to yourselves
and each other.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.